Good afternoon. It is April 23rd at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's actually 4:03. This is a meeting of the Academic Affairs Committee of the Board of School Directors for Springfield Township. I am Damian Johnston, the Assistant Superintendent, and I am pleased to be here with all of you this evening. As always, we have a full and busy agenda. We are ready to bring forward the third and final of our curriculum guides for the coming school year. We have some updates on our overall curriculum work this spring that have been happening through this school year, and our first presentation from our STEM team on the middle school course overviews for our STEM courses. I did want to provide some overviews on what's happening in terms of spring testing and spring assessment, and then talk about our next meeting in May, which is likely the last meeting of the school year. Without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. Tonight's main presentation is a program proposal on the middle school curriculum guide. I've asked Dr. Mangano, Mr. Payne, and Mrs. Brady to be with us this evening, mostly because they have a lot to share as they have re-envisioned and are rethinking the way in which we share the curriculum guide and its function and purpose. But I do not want to steal any of their thunder. So Dr. Mangano, with no further ado, I am going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much to the board that's here this evening and to Dr. Johnson for your incredible support throughout the process. So we are really excited. I feel like, okay, I'm going to say we saved the best for last with the middle school. Keep telling everybody we're the magic in the middle. That's what I told the kids when they came up for 5th grade. So I'd like to kind of take us through a little bit of I feel like I'm going to do that Brady Bunch song. Here's the story of a lovely school because it's really closely tied to a lot of the work that went into this guide. So I'm going to begin on here talking a little bit about the guide is really going to serve as a culmination of the work that truly I'm going to give credit to our staff here and the work we've been doing. And Sarah being here tonight is actually a really great example of a piece of that, of the work that we've been doing together since I came on board just literally in August, a week before school started. So the guide serves as that vision of where we are because it really tells the story of who we are. It's more than the curriculum itself. But the purpose of our guide is to really, as we say here, we see here, excuse me, that we want to make sure that families and students not only understand who we are as a school, what we stand for, and what we deliver, but that they have information as such, on such, in all of these areas. I need to explain that our work began in the beginning of the year by really having that conversation after we had our convocation, which really Dr. Yannicone and Dr. Johnston laid that groundwork, and you as a board with these are goals for our district. We got to dive in as a staff and say, okay, how do we truly support that work? So that really had to begin with what you're seeing here, which was, who are we? What is our vision? What do we want as a staff? Like, who are we when we come together here? We spent a lot of our professional development time throughout the year really defining this. These things had to be in place, pieces of this puzzle first, before we started talking about what we were teaching and learning. So we really wanted to talk about not only our vision, but these were goals and values that we developed together. You're going to see a lot of that embedded throughout the guide, because again, that's the foundation for that instruction that has to occur. So this piece here are the goals and the values that we did an activity as a staff together. We identified that these were the most important things, not only for us, for each other, but things we want for our students as outcomes. And you can see here anything from that growth mindset to perseverance. Again, we are that middle ground. We're taking kids from learning how to be a learner to how to apply that learning so that we can launch them into the high school. Next slide, please. A lot, again, after we talked about goals and values, we spent a lot of time as a staff talking about, okay, if that's what we want to identify and we want for our students, what do we really believe in for our kids, our kids? And you're going to hear me use the words our and all often throughout the presentation and what we do, because even today, we just came out of a training with a data team, and the conversation was it's all means all of us, all of our students, and the our, like we're all involved. So We talked a little bit as a building at several of our faculty meetings, and again, professional development time to really talk about what we really believe in. And these are some of the, and I think the way this is portrayed here really highlights some of the key pieces. How do we find that balance of challenge and support? Relationships matter, kids matter, every student matters, everyone matters. It's not just about academic growth and success. Well, it's about academic success, but growth. Just talked about that this week at a PSSA pep rally and encouraging students to not only achieve, but to grow and come up with your, we call it your PBR, your personal best record. And what does that look like? So all of what we teach and learn with kids aligns to those items. We also, again, I think the key piece for us is while we're trying to teach academic core instruction, confidence, resilience, respect, how to get them interested in new things, finding out who they are as a learner, that partnership with families. We've worked really hard to rebuild the connection and with that partnership with our home and school, which has been so much fun. And we have a ton of activities coming up this year that they are actually taking the lead in, one of which is Career Day. So such a great rebuild in that, and so that families feel that yes, you're welcome here. And yes, we're going to get back to you. And yes, we're going to stay connected with you. Middle school can be, it is a great stepping stone. And it's that opportunity to sort of take kids from where they are, as I mentioned, launch them and get ready for high school. But it's probably one of the my most favorite levels to be at, because you really get a chance to see kids unfold into what they can become. And we, as a staff here, get that chance to do it. And you got to take a real special kind of staff and a person to be able to be here to enjoy that journey with our kids. So it's that, again, in the bottom part of the slide, that opportunity to build those skills, confidence, character, a lot of stuff at the same time, but it's exciting. Next slide, please. So you're going to also see in our guide some additions with our content. So again, talking a lot about in the guide, you're going to, I hope, get a sense of that relationship building and that who and what and our goals, but then also what we want for kids and a couple additions that stand out. And I mentioned these in our last time that we met and learned a lot about how to sort of talk a little bit about them a little bit further. But can we go deeper with our advisory, our advisory program and what we're doing for kids? We use that time during what's now that Spartan Block Flex, but how do we take that advisory program and really build that relationship with a core group of kids and an adult and go deeper with certain topics? And there are topics at the sixth grade level that should and may look different that an eighth grader might need. And we have to be flexible to meet those needs. Kids need that kind of time. You're going to see some pieces in there about multi-tiered system of support, MTSS. Talked about that in our last presentation as well. And really, that we just came out of a training today creating a data team. And what that means is a building level team that's really taking a look at high level data in our building, from discipline to attendance to how students are doing on Linkit, how students are doing in the content areas, and then trying to say, okay, who needs what where? So if that high level team's doing that discussion, then our grade levels are doing that discussion, which folds right into our what we're calling our win period. What do I need? Every kid needs an opportunity to get what they need. And what I need is going to look different from what, Mrs. Nosey may needs or Kieran Brady might need or Mr. Payne. And that's the way we should be altering what we do at that end of the day, because not everybody needs the same thing, and that's okay. You're also going to see some pieces in here. We've tried to kind of change the way we're presenting clubs and athletics. Some of the feedback we were getting, especially from sixth grade families, was, we're really not sure what our kids are able to do, because athletics is traditionally, obviously, in seventh and eighth grade when PIAA begins, but there are things that our sixth graders can do. So we really tried to identify and link those things out for families. A couple new things there would be the growth of our orchestra program, which we're very excited about, and an addition of a National Junior Honor Society. I will also add one of the other cool parts about being in the middle school is that kids have awesome ideas, and I'm pretty good at basically saying no. So when someone says, hey, I want to, or I would like to try, or can we really go for it. And you'll see a lot of that hopefully embedded throughout that guide as well. Next slide, please. I am actually going to turn this slide over to, I'm really happy that they're here. Karen and Jason and I think beyond what we're trying to build with the staff are really trying to be a team and working very hard to demonstrate that and model that for not only our kids here, but our entire school building and our teachers. So I'm super proud of them. They've done a lot of work in two very key areas that we've also talked a lot about prior to this meeting, one of them being in math, and another being in our special areas and the way we offer certain items. So I am going to turn it over to them, and I want to thank them publicly for their work and efforts and their teamwork in these areas. Thank you. Jason, I have you up next, please.
So yeah, we did some research and some fact finding and some really thinking about math placement and sequencing at the middle school. Looking into what other districts do. We came to academic affairs last month, and we took some feedback, and then when we went to write for the curriculum guide, we made some changes and we made some adjustments to align to some of the feedback we got when we were here last time. It was really good. So we did examine the sequence of courses. We did examine the criteria for each of the courses, and how we would schedule and build class rosters. And one of the biggest takeaways that we came away with was every year we're going to reevaluate all of the middle school students. And because middle school is such a time where lots of kids could have, um, you know, crazy spikes in growth, and we wanted to be able to be adaptive to that. So we're going to look at student data every year, January into February, and then again into June, and that'll help us build class rosters for the upcoming school year afterwards. We'll look at PSSA scores, we'll look at benchmark assessments we have, we'll look at attendance data. By middle of July, families will receive a math placement recommendation from us, which will be new. And this annual evaluation will foster flexibility and allow for personalized learning, rather than a rigid track where you came to us as a fifth grader into sixth grade, we put you on a math track, and here's your math life for your career at Springfield. We're gonna be a lot more flexible in this system. Teachers, administrators, and counselors will have the opportunity to review this data and make changes to student placements on a yearly basis. And then it will allow for ultimate flexibility per child in our school. And that's what makes us the most excited, is that we're going to be super adaptable, have the full complement of math courses for a middle schooler that we could have from Math 6, Math 6-7s, Math 7-8, Math 7, Math 8, algebra, geometry. We'll have the gamut, and we'll populate classes based off of the cohort of students that are in our building and program for what we have. And that'll be that. I think that's a bonus to how small we are. We can be that kind of flexible.
I think it aligns, Jason, thank you, to that whole model of what I need. And that's, I think, what we're really going after, like taking data to inform our thinking, but giving kids what they need and allowing for that, like you said, every year to really take that look at that data. And I like that. So thank you.
Before we move on, I think it's really important that the members of our board and the committee hear that we had received feedback not only after we were here the last time, which I think like is maybe in February's meeting, to provide that overview, that we heard from students and families, both advisory and through email, that there were concerns that we had not specifically spoken about sort of our accelerated program, that we talked primarily about sort of the core program we were offering. And so we wanted to make sure that the members of our community understood that our intent is to continue to accelerate students when they are demonstrating the readiness skills and the foundational skills for that acceleration, but not just for the purpose of accelerating, but for the purpose of they are ready to take on more abstract and more advanced mathematics. And that we worked closely actually with the high school to talk about the implications of if students had not yet taken geometry before they got to the high school, what are some options and the impact to both math and science. And so I just wanted to assure members of our board committee, our student representatives, that we heard that feedback, and that process is in going on right now. And so we're 100% clear that we can serve each student at the middle school. That's our obligation. That's what we do. We're proud of it. We just wanted to be more transparent about the criteria we were using to take a look at students' readiness for abstract learning and accelerated learning and the impact of basically in 6th grade, taking 2 courses of math as a 6th grader. And so I just wanted to reiterate the work that the middle school team did, the feedback they heard, and then the retooling and rethinking and clarifying in an attempt to really be transparent and methodical about how we move forward. So I appreciate everyone's leadership in that area. So I just wanted to really praise everybody on the team, but also make sure that everyone knows that we heard feedback and we've integrated it. So thanks again for that work, Jason and Dr. Mangano. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And to continue on with this theme of what, like, I hope that you have been hearing of listening to students, listening to families, and also getting students what they need. That has been a theme throughout the changes that we've made. And the last time that I was here, I was speaking about special areas, and our goal was to really get a true intervention and enrichment block. And right now, that block right now needed to be like unencumbered. Right now, we have a lot of rehearsals going on during that time. So I set out with a goal of embedding that into the school day. But that brought up some other feedback and some other things that we heard of, hey, you know, a 6-day cycle is confusing. Students wanted to get a little bit more choice. We want to start tailoring these special areas to what our students want and what they need. The difficult challenges that we want to expose to students to a lot of things, but also provide them choice. And hopefully, I think we have kind of struck that balance for next year. So the first is we're going to move towards a semester model, meaning for our specials, we'll be taking 4 specials in the first semester and 4 specials in the second semester, and that will be on a 1 to 2 day rotation. If you have students at the middle school, you'll see that this is a change from a 6-day cycle. And if you have students and are you're aware of the setup of the high school, it's very similar to our high school model. So hopefully that'll provide some consistency for our kids as they move through the middle years and prepare them for high school. And with that idea of exposing students to new things, but also allowing them to specialize, there's going to be a little bit of choice for each grade level. 6th and 7th will be able to dive a little bit deeper into a subject. They'll be able to have an extension choice and say that they really enjoy art or they really enjoy PE and they want to dive deeper into that area of expertise. They will be able to fill out some preference sheets and pick that area that they want to dive deeper into. Some changes that you'll see is our music, our band and chorus will be embedded into the school day consistently 6, 7, and 8. Currently, we tried that out this year. We received feedback from students, and what was really important for our students was to have consistent protected time, and not also being pulled multiple times a day. So that's going to be a consistent rehearsal time that students will have for band and chorus. And the great thing that we are able to do with this music change is students can still participate in our strings program as well as band and chorus if they choose to, which is really exciting because we do want students to be able to participate in as much as they can in these middle years and not have to specialize in something particular. You'll also hear and see some changes with our health and PE. In 6th and 7th grade, students will have health and PE, but that will be on a semester every other day model. So they might have PE for one semester, every other day for 40 minutes, and then health for the next semester, every other day for 40 minutes as an example. And this is what we saw was really similar to a lot of our surrounding area schools that are doing very similar things to this. In our 8th grade, that's going to get our most choice. Currently, the students will be able to choose a couple different pathways that they want to go. If they're super interested in a world language and they're ready to dive deeper into a language, they can take that path as well as 4 additional specials. Or, you know, we have some students who aren't ready to take that step. They aren't ready for that, level 1 language. They're going to be able to explore all of our specials and dive deeper and have some of those extension choices. We want to provide flexibility for our students where we wanted to meet them where they are, also have some choice and be able to figure out still like what's your passion, what do you want to enjoy, and we want to be able to provide that for them. And so hopefully in the next week or 2 students will be able to give us those choices, and we will start to gather that information to prepare for the next school year.
If I can add to, thank you, Karen. I think one of the things it sort of resonated with what Dr. Johnston mentioned is in all the work that we've tried to do, whether it was in health or math or PE or special area, or even our goals and values, we really tried hard to listen to our people. We listen to kids. We've had a lot of conversations with kids. They're the customer. They're who we're serving. We've listened to parents. We've listened to staff. I think we're really trying to take all of those pieces and put them together and say, okay, how do we, as Karen said, give everybody, and Jason said, what they need, allowing for, a sampling of things, but then allowing for some depth, because at some point they're going to need to be making some deeper choices as they get older. So it's a delicate balance, and one that also, with all of that, besides what we do intellectually, it's that social emotional piece and the balance of dealing with adolescents. So we have the best job ever, I have to say. We have the best staff. I told the kids that we have best people, great administration. Couldn't be more proud of the work we're doing. So I think that's our last slide, maybe.
We have one more.
Oh, great. That's me then. And next steps. Look at that. So next steps, after this evening, we are also doing a lot of work after we finished our 5th grade students coming here. We are preparing and gearing up for a lot of parent communication. We are being very transparent with our families and trying very hard to be very specific with what we're doing. We have a transition event scheduled on the 29th. We are going. Oh, I am myself, and I believe Karen's coming with me. We are headed over to Erdenheim to come back to all the 5th graders and do a panel talk with some of our current students. We have our parent night scheduled for the 30th, and a lot of our communication hopefully will be heading out by the 28th. Then during this next school year, because we're in construction mode and we're learning how to be very flexible in all that we do, we are going to continue a lot of the work that we started this year and continue that work into next year, because we will be enhancing our schedule yet again, which is great. We're ready for it. And these are some of the areas we're really looking, and I want to just give you a preview of that now. Moving our staff more towards a teaming structure, looking to really build science and social studies to occur every day. Right now they don't. And then continuing that option for giving our special area people the idea to offer something new and different, as well as that continued voice and choice sort of theme, if you will. So those are some things, some exciting what's to come items you can look for. I think that's my last slide.
Dr. Mangano, Mr. Payne, and Mrs. Brady, I really appreciate all the work. I know it. We've had you here a couple of times over the last few months to sort of prepare for the changes that you've been making, so make sure that our board members and our community is well aware of the changes, as an opportunity to really help make transparent and clear sort of the middle school that you see in your future. So I'm excited about that. I want to open it to members of the board for any questions or comments for our team. Mrs. Bell.
Hey, I want to make sure, did I understand that you said you were going from a 6-day cycle to a 2-day? Different.
Mrs. Bell, I think what I heard you ask was, are we going from a 6-day cycle to a 2-day cycle? Did I get that right?
Yes.
So
Mrs.
yes,
Brady?
so currently, yes, we'll be moving from a 6-day cycle to a 2-day cycle, to a 2-day cycle. The way we were able to make that happen is that we are moving to that semester model. So instead of having some classes that run all year and some classes that run quarterly, which was super confusing for a lot of our students, we're moving to a semester model and a rotation. So there will be kind of 4 blocks of time that would be dedicated to specials in the first semester, and another 4 blocks of time dedicated to specials in the second semester, hopefully to create some clarity for all of our students, some focus. And that was a lot of the feedback that we heard from our kids.
Mrs. Bell, did that answer your question?
Yes, I guess I'm not used to the whole generation with, like, when I went to school, Monday was Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, Mrs. Bell, I do appreciate that. It's true.
I know my son, I'm like, I give him credit. I'm like, I don't know how you know where you're supposed to be, because he would try to tell me and I'm like, forget it. It's over my head. I don't get it.
Thanks,
Well, that's
Mrs.
why I think we're trying to streamline what we're doing and simplify that a little bit, because truthfully, we still have kids, me included, who sometimes don't know, like there's schedules, it's too many layers within it. So we're really trying to simplify it as much as we can.
Dr. Aberly.
So I have a couple of questions. And first of all, I think this is great. Looking at being at the board meeting last night with the feedback from the students coming from the elementary school with the CLKA program, what was fascinating to me is that every single one of those kids talked about a different topic. So there is an expectation of diversity in what they're learning. There was like Civil War, dinosaurs. It was very, very diverse. And I'm thinking, you know, this will probably settle well with that group of incoming students because they're kind of used to having like that choice in diversity of what they're learning about. So I think this is a great approach. One of the questions I had was around resourcing. So do we have like the right balance of staff experience to be able to kind of like cover all of these topic areas? And what happens if there's something that's extremely popular? I'm thinking about, you know, what we've done with the strings program, for example. It started out small. Now it's like we've now got a strings teacher in place. So how are we going to kind of manage that and keep an eye on and I guess manage students' expectations as well? Like not everybody's going to get to do everything. So how are we going to manage that?
So you're talking about now, just so I answer that question too, Kieran, I want you to go as well, but you also, it's two different questions to me. There's like the adult piece and the kid piece.
Yes.
So I'll do the adult piece, Kieran, I'm gonna let you do the kid piece. But the adult piece to me is, I have to say that there's a lot of talent within our building that we're even uncovering as we speak. So part of my job, I feel like, and our job as administrators and leaders is to really build capacity around the people we have and sort of take like, I kind of look at it like the diamond in the rough and like, can I dig deep and find that diamond and polish it off and really tap people's strengths with where they are? And maybe they don't even know they have a strength in an area. So I feel like this is, I mean it, and I'm saying it over and over again, but incredible people here who I believe there's talent here that they may not even know they have, but there's an interest. So I think we're trying to carefully tap and uncover and build capacity around the people we have and put them in positions where they can continue to grow and teach us some things. So I think that's one way, and develop them, like the data training today. Really great opportunity. Yep.
Yeah, it's like a PD opportunity as much as anything.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. So that's the staff piece. Kieran, you want to talk about the kid piece,
Can
about
I
how
add
the
one
balance?
before
Yes.
Kieran does that?
Yes.
Dr. Mangano, just one other thing. Dr. Aberle, I think you asked a really important question. I think that's one of the reasons we're trying to phase in these shifts.
Yes.
So next year's shifts really don't have a lot of content changes. There might be pacing changes. There may be a few more sessions or a few less sessions of something or another next year. That's why we wanted to slow. We could have done all of these changes for next year, but we're just not ready. And so what I appreciate about what the team has worked to do is to be methodical and say, we're going to make these scheduling changes and frequency changes, but the coursework is likely very similar from one year to the next. Yes, there's more choice on the part of the student, which I know Mrs. Brady will talk about, but from the side of the teachers, we're asking people to do what they've been doing. It might be, instead of on a 6-day cycle, on a 2-day cycle, but it really is intended to feel familiar. But we're going to spend, now that we have a frame built out, that's my understanding from the middle school team, the goal throughout next year will be to build out some new elective options or tweak how we're delivering instruction. But that we aren't ready for yet. So that's where we're going to spend. We spent this time this year to get here. Next year's time will get us to the next milestone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and does that also, I'm thinking about the two parts of the program. So there's the kind of like specials part, but there's also the math piece as well. And so the kind of balance of staff that we have around what we're looking at to teach within the math program, I'm assuming we have the right staff to do that as well, or we can borrow from somewhere else.
One of the best parts, if I may, is we have incredible coaches here that are truly helping, like right alongside of our teachers, really working with them. I think to help with some of that as well. I feel like, and whatever we need, I also feel Dr. Johnston has been an incredible support to say, all right, what is it you need in order to keep going along that path? So I think, I believe we do. And if we don't, we will identify and kind of listen to people and give them what they need. We've tried to also turn faculty meetings into more, how can we help feed our staff so they can get what they need out of that, providing as much time as we can with the time we have to help bring them along so that we're not overloading them. So I think we've done a lot of listening as well to our teachers that have said, like, when things get too fast, slow us down, slow us down. Okay, so we're trying to take the temperature as we move along as well, but give them the time they need to grow and learn along with us.
Mrs.
And
Brady,
to-
will you answer the second part of the question?
Yeah.
And then I know Dr. Teretuski has a question as well.
And to address the student piece, I mean, it's the idea of popularity of some courses, and that's why I think it's really important that Dr. Johnston brought up this is the transition year. This is the year we're really going to get a pulse when we get our students' preferences of what they want to dive deeper into. We are going to have them rank their preferences. We're going to do our very, very best to try to get the kids, what they're most interested in. But this is also going to be a data point for us as we start to look through next year and create options for additional possible special area courses in that 26-27 school year. So will everyone get their top choice? Probably not. It's very similar to how our high school electives are selected as well, but we do our best to honor those kids and what they're interested in and get something that they are interested in. But I do think what's really important is that this is a great piece so that we figure out what is very interesting to our students, what are our kids latching onto, so that we can best build out what the special areas will look like in that 26-27 school year and moving forward.
Thanks, Mrs. Brady. Dr. Teretuski.
Hi, team. Sorry that I was late, and I apologize if this question requires repeating some things, but I'm curious about, with the change in schedule, how students will get additional support. I know that I believe that you're working on have a student support team of some sort, and that there are support and interventions for students who are struggling. Not special ed kids, but kids who are just struggling in the general curriculum. And just wondering, where do those things fit in the schedule, if they do, and how does your team make time to deliver those supports and services?
It's a great question. I'm going to say it's going to happen in two areas. So we talked about a period in our day that I'll call it what I need. So that's at the end of the day where kids, it could be in your intervention, enrichment, whatever a student needs, that's that time period that will occur. In addition, I have to add, we're also working with our teachers. So in the core content areas, there should also be time within their lesson structure to be able to deliver small group instruction where needed, again, in an intervention or enrichment kind of area. And we're working with our staff about looking at data so that data is informing how does my lesson structure look so that I'm providing kids what I need right within my core content, right within that period. In addition to how do I look at data and go further with what kids need towards the end of the day. So it's actually two opportunities, I would say. And then we're utilizing our team times to really look at data and have adult conversations with taking a look at how do we figure out who needs what. So that's where that will happen.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from any members today?
I just have one other question for Dr. Mangano. So does this follow a similar practice that you had in your previous school district? Like I'm assuming that we're talking about, I love the idea of like gathering data, generating data, but I'm assuming that if you did this, it was successful in your previous district.
I would say in several districts I've been in, and I think working closely with our Montgomery County Intermediate Unit as a strong support, working with our directors here on campus who have been nothing but supportive in terms of really kind of taking a look at the concept of the whole child and how do we align staff to align to meet the needs of our kids. Again, I feel strongly that this staff is well suited for this work, and you've got 3 people now in this leadership role under some amazing cabinet members to say, all right, here we go, let's take them and run. And the staff has really just come a long way with it. So I couldn't be more proud. So yes, I have done the kind of work before, and I'm just so excited about being in Springfield and being able to do the work here. It's an incredible group of teachers, kids, and families. So really excited.
Well, I think we're glad to have you, and obviously all of the administration at the middle school. So yeah, good. I guess good luck.
I can't wait to come back and tell you all about it.
I can't wait to hear.
Thanks,
Thank you.
all three of you. Obviously, you're welcome to stay with us this evening if you'd like to listen to the rest of our meeting, but I also understand that you all have other things to do to get ready for tomorrow in the middle of this busy testing season. So you're welcome to join us, but if you need to go, we understand that too. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Continuing to build, is just wanted to catch the team up. We sort of set some curriculum review goals earlier in the school year. Our primary focus this year, after the heavy lift of our core academic areas last year in ELA, over the last few years, mathematics, science, we had a lot of big projects last year. Financially, we needed to take a slower break, and we needed to sort of refine some of our elective courses. So this year, one of our priorities was really looking at the intersection of our K through 8, so elementary and middle school technology and STEM special area courses that we offer. As many of you know, we offer those courses as a special in all three of those schools. But we wanted to really take a look at, there were two components in the STEELS standards, which we've talked about a lot in terms of science, regarding engineering and design that we thought complemented well the STEM courses we were already offering. So we spent the majority of the year really looking at what does the STEELS standard say, and what do we have in place, and where can we enhance, deepen, expand some of the work that we're happening in our technology and STEM courses. And so next month, I'm going to bring you our elementary courses. But today, building on our middle school theme, Mrs. Nose is here, and she's going to talk a little bit about the overview for her 6th, 7th, and 8th grade STEM courses and her recommendations for some changes and updates. Mrs. Nose, thanks for being with us this afternoon and patiently waiting through your colleagues as they provided that framework. And now I'm going to just turn it over to you.
Great, thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah Nose, and I'm the middle school STEM teacher. And thank you for having me here today to present the course overviews for our middle school STEM program. The first thing that was really a priority in writing the course overviews is, first of all, exposing students to a variety of STEM topics in a specials course, but also building a solid foundation at the 6th grade level that can then be built upon in 7th and 8th grade, so that students build onto these skills as they advance through each grade level at the middle school. When working in a technology-based course, another thing that was really a priority is starting out with digital citizenship. As students are exposed to so much technology on a daily basis, it's really vital that students know not only how to properly use technology, but also like responsible citizenship when it comes to using the variety of technology that they use, and how to use it responsibly. As you'll see in the course overviews, one of the biggest themes that I focus on is the engineering design process. The middle school STEM program is mainly focused on learning and applying these steps of the design process as they navigate through various units of study. So starting in 6th grade, the biggest focus for 6th graders is robotics. We work on designing, building, and coding robots in the 6th grade program. In 7th grade, we have a very exciting project, which is a Shark Tank style project where students are inventing a business, coming up with a business plan, and then they also solve a real world problem with a target audience in mind throughout the project. Students use prototyping in this project as well, so they learn about 3D modeling and 3D printing, and we're excited to get some new equipment too next year for the 3D printing aspect of that. So students learn how to prototype and 3D print for their final project and presentation. Moving forward to 8th grade, the 8th grade STEM class really focuses on Spartan Spotlight, which is our student-run news program. So students focus on, engaging their audience, and also on like the ethical reporting and, proper media usage as they're learning how to report. They're also learning about like their intake of media as well. Students also plan, they write scripts, they film, and they learn the editing techniques for producing the student news program. And then the second part of 8th grade is career exploration. So students have the chance to explore career options that are available to them. And even if students aren't interested in a future in what would like traditionally be considered a STEM career, we talk a lot about how STEM skills are beneficial in any career field, even if it's not traditionally considered a STEM career. So it gives students an opportunity as 8th graders who are, selecting courses for their high school career. It helps them to kind of identify future goals and in terms of their education and their future career goals as well. So hopefully this gives you a better understanding of what's going on at the middle school in STEM. And I look forward to implementing these changes next year in the program. So thank you.
Thanks, Mrs. Nosey. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Mrs. Nosey about her revised course guides for grades 6, 7, and 8? Dr. Aberly?
Other than it looks great, and I like the idea that this is really kind of like future proofing like skill sets for moving into high school and beyond. I mean, there's things on here that I'm like, I don't even know how to do this stuff now in my job. So I would love to be able to learn this, but I've never done 3D printing or any of that sort of stuff. So, I think really thinking of our students as being out in the world is really important. And, I know that certainly my middle school are like the Shark Tank project. So
Glad to hear that. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I think one of the things that you'll notice is the open-endedness to these course questions, and that there's not a single answer. And Mrs. Nosey and her colleagues at the elementary level and I have had the opportunity to talk about that it's really important that in our technology and STEM courses, we stay open-ended, because things that they're going to dig into and be fascinated by, like 3D printing seems cool now, but I don't know in 5 years whether that's still, I don't know whether there'll be some new version of 3D, 4D printing. Like, I just really can't imagine sort of what's possible. And so I want to make sure that we're situated to both give students a low-tech opportunity to practice design and engineering. You don't have to have a computer to do these things, but you also understand that you have a computer to do these things and the ways in which AI fit into this. So I think there's a lot of ways in which this will continue to evolve and deepen. As I've shared with Mrs. Nosey, I'm hopeful that the open-endedness of this is not technology in terms of a computer or a screen, but it's a way of thinking and a design approach that will serve students well, regardless of their career, as you mentioned. So I think that's a really important component. And I really appreciate the leadership in being first amongst your colleagues to be here with us at Academic Affairs. So thanks. Any other questions about that? All right. Thanks, Mrs. Nosey. I'm sure that you and your family have a very busy night ahead. Thanks for being here. Bye. In the next meeting, when we come back together in May, I will be bringing you updates on the other projects that we had going. As I mentioned, I expect our other 2 STEM technology teachers from Enfield and Erdenheim, Mr. Meyer and Mr. Berger, to be here with us to present their course overviews. We also have been working on K-12 physical education. And so we've done some student surveys. We've gotten student feedback, K-12, about their PE and physical education experience while they've been here in the district. And so the teachers are using that to formulate some priority areas that they are going to focus on revising and clarifying. We've also been working on business and personal finance revisions. At the high school level, students have provided surveys and input on the business courses they've been taking and what they wish we would offer. So we have some of that for you next time. And then, as you may or may not remember, we talked about this before, is that the Department of Education has indicated that there has been legislative authorization where we're required to offer a half-credit personal finance course beginning in the next few years. You have to make a decision by 26, 27 where you're going to put that course, and then that's by 2030, the students will have had to have taken the course, not pass, taken. It's an important distinction that the Department of Education shared with us. Currently, we're thinking that's going to be a junior year course. At times, it's not always been articulated well how we make those decisions. It's really a local decision. We could do it any way we want. But the advice from the Department of Education, which actually resonated with our team, is that juniors are in a unique situation where they've likely had a job, they've done some work, they have enough life experience to make sense out of personal finance that might not be possible for 9th or 10th graders yet. Not all 9th or 10th graders may have had the opportunity to work, but most 11th graders, by the time they get to their 11th grade year, will have had some sort of an employment and be able to be thinking about their future in a way that's more flexible and will help this information resonate. Additionally, one of the other pieces that's important here is there are multiple options of how we could deliver this course. And so Dr. Scragen at the high school is working with his team to sort of articulate some pathways. One is a standalone personal finance course, one which we sort of already have in place. We just need to tweak a little. Right now it's called financial literacy. We would shift it to personal finance. But we're also looking at identifying our business math course as a personal finance option and tweaking that to have some algebra alignment, which gets to some of the financial aspects of mathematics. And so there's some other options, including building out our half credit economics class to a half credit of economics and a half credit of personal finance. And so we would be able to offer students a variety of options at the high school in order to meet this high school graduation requirement. So we anticipate bringing back a full recommendation in the months ahead. Hopefully we'll have that for you next month. And if not, it'll probably be one of the early subjects we discuss next year. And finally, the last project we're working on is computer science. Our high school computer science teacher, she is a department of one, has been working hard on taking a look. And I think we've talked with you a little bit about the dual enrollment priorities. We've added a number of courses, decision-making in sports as one of those courses. It's a dual enrollment at Pitt. She's added data science in the humanities and information science. So she's added some other courses that right now are dual enrollment with Pitt. That's been our priority. But she has some ideas about some other additional courses that we think would be really purposeful and useful to help continue to grow out the offerings for our students. And so we're going to work with the high school administration to review those. And I anticipate bringing those back to you also either at our next meeting in May or early next year. So that's where we are with those other projects we've been working on this year. Any questions for me about that?
No, I think we're good. Damian, thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least is just an overview. We talked about it a little bit at the board meeting last night. We are in spring assessment season. PSSAs are well underway at Erdenheim and at the middle school. They kicked off on Monday. There is a major change. I just want to make sure this board was aware of that. And we talked about it last year in preparation that in the past, the PSSA science test was administered to the 4th graders. This year it's being administered to the 5th graders. And if you did your math that last year's 4th graders took the test and this year's 5th graders took the test, you are correct. The same children are taking the test 2 years in a row. That is correct. So I just wanted to make sure we talked about that. This is a different test. This is a Steele's Standards aligned test. This is the first one. And so we'll be interested to see what our students have to say. They'll take that test later next week. AP testing will get underway any day now. Also, we are gearing up for that. The College Board has moved that test online. That is no small feat for our technology department and our teachers in navigating using the digital online platform. And so while I anticipate it will go well, there have been some practice tests provided so that we could work through some of the bugs. So that we've been doing that over the last few weeks, and they'll be doing that testing throughout the 5th through the 16th. For students enrolled in those courses. I think we talked about this here. As you know, we do pay for those AP tests. We looked at that. It's under $40,000 that we've picked up as additional expenditures in order to provide those assessments to our students. So absolutely worth it in terms of the results that we're yielding and the impact it has on the school program and the overall profile of our high school. Finally, our last standardized assessment for the spring will be our Keystone testing. That's for the algebra, literature, and biology. You'll remember that those are the pathways that students need to have for graduation in Pennsylvania, and those tests will get administered from the 13th to the 22nd. Questions on standardized tests?
Nope.
Excellent. And then we do, I don't want us to forget, we have those other end of the year curriculum assessments. So we have our benchmark tests where we're providing either getting test results in ELA and mathematics. You know that we use those results to help us take a look at our overall progress this year. We've shared those with you at the beginning of the year and mid-year. We'll have some end of the year results as well in both STAR, Acadians, and Linkit. And our high school and middle school from grades 8 to 12 will finish final exams between May 27th and June 11th. A busy, busy couple 6 weeks in our schools. Any question for me about that?
No, thanks, Damian.
Of
No,
course.
not for me.
Any other questions or comments today?
No, just thanks for the updates. This is great.
I appreciate
Damien,
it.
can I get
Yeah, go
can I
ahead.
get a copy of the presentation that was given by the middle school for the, I just want to look at what the presentation I missed. So
Absolutely. Did you want the video or you want me to send you the slides?
just send me the slides. It's
You
fine.
got it.
I'll look at the video, but
Nope.
but the slides would help. Thanks.
No problem.
Mhm.
Looking to see. There is no public participation this evening, so there is no public comment. Our next meeting date and our likely last meeting for this school year is May 12th at 4 o'clock. We'll do it on a hybrid time. I did move it to Monday. I'm hopeful that that works for people because I know these middle of the week days have been kind of hard. So I appreciate everyone's flexibility as we find the correct meeting time for ourselves.
Thanks, Damien.
Anything else? I wasn't quite 45 minutes, everyone, but pretty much better than it's been. Unless there's anything further, I'm going to go ahead and recommend, Dr. Aberley, that we adjourn the meeting.
Yes, please. And you can send me the minutes.
That'd be great. And you'll read them at the board meeting.
I will.
All right. I appreciate everyone's
Okay.
time. I'm glad our students were here this evening. Dr. Yannickum was here on the phone as well. So I appreciate everyone's time. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank
You too. Thanks, Damien.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Take care.